Hello, the Yellow Wallpaper Analyst by me, Tahira Woodley. Table of Contents, Introduction, History, Social Values, Economic Values, Cultural Values, Influence, Inclusion. Introduction. Charlotte Perkins Gilmore, The Yellow Wallpaper, delves deeply into the themes surrounding the oppression of women, mental illness, societal expectations that were prevalent in the 19th century. The protagonist in the story is confined to a room by her physician husband, who prescribes rest and isolation to treat her nervous condition. This confinement serves as a metaphor for economic and social constraints imposed on women during that era. Although the narrative primarily focused on psychological and gender related issues, it also addresses economic challenges. The history of the wallpaper short story, published in the 19th century, is during this time mental illness was often stigmatized and misunderstood, which led to harsh and often inhumane treatments for those suffering from such conditions. These psychiatric institutions were common where individuals with mental illness were often confined in crowded and unsanitary conditions. These institutions often employed treatments such as isolation, restraints, and even physical punishment as a means of curing mental illness. The Yellow Wallpaper, it is a powerful feminist work that sheds light on the oppressive nature of patriarchal society and traditional gender roles. Although the story of a woman who is through the story of a woman who is confined to a room by her husband and forbidden from expressing herself, Gilman highlights the ways in which women were often silenced, dismissed, and controlled by male figures in society. The story also challenged traditional gender roles by showing the damaging effects of limited domestic roles and denying women agency and autonomy. The story reflects broader social issues, being denied opportunities of selfhood, self expression outside of prescribed gender roles. Economic values, social values, cultural values, mental health. Social values. The wallpaper with its tragic pattern and oppressive yellow hue serves as a metaphor for the restriction placed on women in society during the time the story was written. As the protagonist becomes increasingly fixated with the wallpaper, its patterns becomes to represent her own sense of entrapment and loss of agency. The protagonist's obsession in the wallpaper mirrors her descent into madness as she struggles against the confines of her domestic life and expectations placed upon her as a woman. Ultimately, the wallpaper symbolizes the protagonist's inner turmoil and the societal forces that contribute to her mental breakdown. Economically, the story highlights the detrimental effects of leading women opportunities for education, self expression, and economic dependence. The protagonist's inability to pursue her own interests and her forced dependence on her husband demonstrates how restrictive social norms and gender roles can be on economic growth and individual potential. Cultural values. The cultural ideals prevalent during the 19th century also placed a high emphasis on the importance of physical appearance as well as social status. Despite internal turmoil and agency, the narrator must maintain a facade of normalcy and conformity. The characterization in the story emphasizes the oppressive nature of male dominancy in society at the time, as well as the devastating effects of isolation of the lack of agency on the protagonist's mental health and well-being. The influence of the Yellow Wallpaper initially met mixed reviews when it was published in 1892. Some critics dismissed it as disturbing and unconvincing story. Many readers recognized it as a powerful depiction of oppression of mental health struggles faced upon women in the 19th century. Over time, the story has become a central work of American literature, influenced feminist disclosure and understanding of women experiences in society. The study of the topics such as gender roles, mental illness, female autonomy, and the continues to deeply resonate with readers and researchers, firmly establishing it as a timeless piece of literature that has had profound influence on feminist thought and storytelling. In conclusion, in essence, the Yellow Wallpaper serves as a compelling critique for oppressive forces that shape and confine women experience within predominantly male controlled society. Perkins shed light on the systematic inequalities, deeply ingrained gender prejudice, and dehumanizing ideologies that were widespread in society throughout the 19th century. It invites readers to critically analyze and address ongoing societal, financial, and cultural norms and continue to shape our present day society. Thank you.